was your hair tight? When I wake up in the morning, my bed has says 4 a.m. Like, was your hair tight? Tryna go out tonight. I think I need my balance. It's always a kinky conversation. A kinky conversation. But I got that magic.
Welcome back to Kinky Conversations. Today we have bloggers, but they're more than bloggers. They are veteran bloggers. They have been in the game a long time. And Marie Denee, you are a curvy, full-figured model, blogger. Tell us a little bit about you. Let's start with you.
Well, I run the Curvy Fashionista. The curvyfashionista.com has been around for 10 years. We are a plus-size fashion resource destination. So we're covering news, trends, who's doing what. We talk about kind of the state of the curvy and plus-size fashion world. And we really kind of challenge and push both the industry and the everyday plus-size woman to kind of step out of their box.
And how can they find you on Instagram?
The Curvy Fashionista, and then I also have the curvyfashionista.com.
Awesome. And we have Maeling, also known as the Natural Chica. Tell a little bit about you, and where can they find you on Instagram?
Sure. So I started naturalchica.com back in 2009 as just a journal, online journal for my natural hair journey. And it basically morphed into this platform where I was able to inspire thousands of women just to embrace their natural hair as I learned how to care for my hair at the same time. And basically you can find me on thenaturalchica.com.
So let's jump right in. I've never been a blogger. I have a lot to say, but I kind of keep it up here in this head. But for people who are strong enough and have the courage to put their words out there for people, I mean, that's a big thing. So tell me about your experience and what have you seen change from the past to now? What type of things have you seen in the blogging world?
So I will say a couple of things. There's different types of bloggers. There's different types of blogs. And I think a lot of what the word that we kind of have talked about that irritates us is this word influencer, because people use it as like a blanket way to cover anyone who basically is like their own personality. But what people don't know is every influencer is a blogger and not every blogger is an influencer. And we all have different types of platforms. My blog has evolved from a blog to a digital platform, meaning I have now grown or evolved from just myself. I have a team, I have a production, I have an event, I have a cruise. We have different things going on. I'm now full-formed business operation. And so that's my transition. There are some bloggers who are outfit bloggers, some people who are lifestyle. There are different types of everything's kind of been broken down. So there's just not one type of business. And I think people kind of blanket blogging or blanket influencing to kind of all mean the same when they're completely different. There are so many different ways to kind of navigate that. And how it's changed, I mean, first of all, there's so many more people. So many more. I mean, I remember when I first reached out to Patrice of Afrobella. I remember like, hi girl, I'm Marie. Or Claire from Fashion Bomb, or Lovey, or these are the women who were right before me. And at that time it was just me and Gabby Fresh. And, I was kind of covering the news side of things, and she was the outfit blogger who was like kind of breaking those barriers. So it was, we all have different approaches. And I think it's important that when people hear blog or think of blog, they realize like this is just a profession. And it's a naturally progressing one. We didn't go to school for it, but which kind of also means like every person who's a blogger is not just in it just for themselves. Like I have an MBA in marketing. My whole path was over there. And all of a sudden I ended up over here. So, it's important to, when we start talking about blogging, to kind of understand the different elements that kind of make it what it is. But there's so many more people. There's so many more sub-platforms. Instagram wasn't around when we started. Facebook only just opened up to the public, 2009, 10? Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Yeah.
That is true.
Snapchat wasn't around.
Right.
Vine has come and left.
What about even vlogging? Because they have this whole new vlogging.
That is not even my lane. That's not even my lane, yo. Like,
What about you?
Oh, goodness. So when I started, I was in school. I moved to Atlanta back in 2008 to work on my PhD at Georgia Tech in materials engineering. And
Hold up now.
She just threw that in there so casually, like my PhD.
My MBA. Y'all are amazing. Yeah.
But it's nothing major.
but it goes to show just how important, like just how layered it is when you people think, oh, blogger, oh, they're just in it for attention, or they only want the free clothes. They don't realize that we're professionals behind this. And someone like, oh, you're just a blogger. Do I need to show you my signature? Right. Come on, go ahead.
So many layers to that. But when I started my blog, I was, going to school at the same time. And when I started, I had no idea there was even a way to make money from this whole blogging thing. And especially within the natural hair community, the focus of my attention was video. So I started a blog first, but then I realized I want to show people, what I'm trying out, what I'm doing. And at the time, there weren't a lot of us on YouTube sharing this kind of information. And even the reason why I started was because of the information that was online. I'm like, this is really helpful. I want to add to this online conversation. And so when I started, I remember maybe like a year into it, companies started reaching out like, hey, you want to try these products? I'm like, sure, why not? And, as time went on, thankfully I have a husband who is like very business minded. He's like, you realize you're helping these companies make thousands of dollars, right? I'm like, okay, so I need to start shifting my mindset from just, I'm throwing information up online, just, I was always sharing from the heart, but I had to be smart about it. So I had to kind of learn how to operate it as a business as I went on. And I mean, there have been so many changes over the past 10 years. Yeah.
I mean, because even the business side of it, the moment that you start taking money for content.
Oh, goodness.
When that first part, you kind of were going back and forth like,
it was really, really hard, even for the audience, because think about it, back then, getting paid for it wasn't normal. So when people would see, oh, this is a sponsored post, oh, I can't trust her anymore. Right. And not realizing that, we're marketing for these companies. Like, this is something that they would have to pay for with traditional media. So why shouldn't it be the same for us, essentially? So that conversation was a huge one that we had to really kind of navigate through as well.
Advertising dollars. Like, I'm a photographer, and as a photographer, looking at the photographers out here now that are influencers, that are doing all these photos for companies even. I didn't even think about it until you just said that. I'm like, wow, a lot of photographers are shooting and having sponsored content with these shoots. And I'm like, do you not realize that picture that you just gave to them for $50, you could have literally, for that one picture, got $10,000. Yeah. Literally. This is advertising, and we have to take it back. This is crazy.
It's funny. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's funny that, like, you just said that, because I see a lot of bloggers now, they'll say when it's not sponsored, they make a point to say, like, this is not sponsored. I just put it out there. This is my real opinion. So you can tell that they have been getting some type of, like, backlash or something.
It's the FTC. It's the FTC. So now, because of the evolution, like, when people see things, they have to be clear. Like, so sometimes if something is gifted, so it may not be a sponsored post, but I may have gotten this dress for free. If I'm going to post it online, care of, gifted, you have to, it's for the transparency. And it's interesting because now we'll see like a celebrity post something on Instagram and we'll see ad. Because we didn't see that for a very long time. But the FTC has to come down. They can't just come down on the bloggers and the Instagrammers. They have to come down on everyone because social media and blogging has changed the advertising scope, like the whole, how we all consume media and even content has changed. And it's a little bit of a mindful, especially in plus size fashion. It was first, in the plus size space, it was first political. There was size activism, and that was more kind of led a little bit more by white women. But there was a splinter off where just culturally we all got a big mama, we all got that aunt, so growing up you were thick, heavy set, big boned, all this fun stuff. The fashion element, we just wanted clothes that dressed ourselves. So unbeknownst to us, like our activism was in wearing clothes that made us feel good, that were just as cute as our straight size friends, that we weren't thinking about the activism just in existing. You know, I am wearing an off the shoulder polka dot dress that's a midi. Like, we didn't have these options 10 years ago. I mean, there were so few and far between. So even in that, like, you know, I will now, when you talk about the evolution, I use my platform to go directly to the CEOs, the CMOs, the C-level, the director levels to affect change with my platform. So if you know, a brand made a misstep, I'm either calling or I'm emailing. Or if I get the chance, I'm in their face like, let me tell you where you effed up.
Yeah.
But they do it all the time.
Yeah.
These companies, it's like they throw the ball this way and that ball curves. they miss the target all the time.
But see, people don't realize their power with their voice, with their platforms. Some do, Black Twitter, and some, right? We love it. I mean, some do recognize their voice, and those are the ones who affect change when they realize. And that's something that social media and blogging has given us, you know, the chance to positively affect. I mean, how many times has a brand asked for your information or you've been able to give direction like, no, don't do that, do this?
One thing I've loved about this whole blogging journey is just the emphasis on taking back your power. Like, everyone has a voice, everyone has something important to share, and you just never know, just by taking that one step to just share what you're going through, how it can affect someone else or affect, you know, the social community at large. Like, there's just so much power there.
Yeah.
You really do have a voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think people need to use that voice.
Yeah. Especially while you have these platforms, and I mean, they're not forcing you to, because to some degree, like, I listen to Gary Vee often, and he's always like, first of all, he actually says that we missed the mark, because like anyone who's trying to come in as a blogger now, it's like, yo, these are free platforms. So market away, like, you know, and back before it's been as, I guess, you know, as saturated as it is now with everyone, it was a lot easier to get in front of people, you know, because now you got all the algorithms and you got all this stuff where they're trying to like manipulate these platforms, right? But before that, I mean, it's like, this is free. These are free platforms, you know, but it's also cool because on the flip side of that, I hear you should have your own website, right? Because they're free, they could take this away in any day, you know, and it's like, you're a blogger today, but who are you tomorrow when all this stuff goes away, you know?
Christmas. It's called Instagram Gate. Christmas Gate is what they called it, because there was like a couple of meme accounts that were over the 1 million mark, and Instagram felt for some reason that they closed about 10 of these accounts. These people's only form of livelihood was Instagram. They were building their houses on other people's land, on other people's property. And so even now when I hear these, you know, the Instagrammers talking about, oh, it's Instagram this and I got to do this, I'm looking at them, I'm like, do you even own your domain?
Yep.
Like, do you own,
because are you building an email list, right?
That's the only thing you own outside of your own domain and your website. That's the only thing you own. If Facebook went down today, if Instagram, if everything else went down, what do you have?
Yeah, and don't be mad when it happens, because I see a lot of people are triggered when it's like Instagram does this quick like sweep of followers, right? Because maybe they bought them or whatever, and it's don't be mad. You know what the game is.
Or
so
they change the algorithm and then no one's seeing your content.
Right. And it's a business for them too, right? When they change the algorithm, they want you to pay for your content to be put in front of people. Yeah.
But, you know, and I think what people forget is like, because of the intersection of passion and creativity and business, people don't understand at the end of the day, it's about business. At the end of the day, it's about that dollar. And so no matter how emotionally charged you are about this, like, you know, we have that responsibility where we have to balance those two. You know, like, for example, I called one of my blogger friends for advice last night because I have a sponsored post that needs to go up. But because of a certain situation in Twitter world and on social media, this post is related to one of their companies. So if I post it, like, it's like it's tone deaf, or it's like, yeah, what do I stand for? Here I am, a black woman, and there's these issues going on, and so how do I navigate that? So I'm like, okay, so do I just hold on it and just tell them I'm gonna wait till like Wednesday? Because maybe,
I mean, we do
what company is it?
Right? so Wednesday might be a good mark.
Okay, 2 days.
I mean, for me, it's like you have these situations where you have a contract, and I mean, I'm a real legit fan of this company, but unfortunately, given what's going on socially, I'm gonna have to wait. The important thing to kind of be mindful of is like our responsibility, our social responsibility as a blogger. Like if you're doing these sponsored campaigns, like you have to be mindful of what's going on in the world, because you may take on a campaign like I was just sharing, and it may be the timing is wrong, and so you have to have the business mind, and you have to be in tune with the community to make sure that you don't have any additional like oops.
Yeah. No more black. You don't want Black Twitter on your back, because I heard that's some heat.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Black Twitter.
They'll find your house.
But I just have a question though. So, as vets in the game, how do you feel, since the platforms are so open and available to everybody? How do you feel about these people that are just kind of coming in for fun, and their brands are growing and they're kind of like considered influencers, bloggers, now people that are vets in the game? How do you feel about these people who just kind of threw a video for fun and it hit for them?
For me, I've always just focused on what I need to do. So it really doesn't matter who joins the game, because again, I believe everyone has something to share, and the way we share things, they're going to be different. I mean, it's a whole new generation that has experienced a whole set of other things that I haven't experienced. So who am I to say, oh, you can't share your experiences online because you're doing it in this kind of way? So I welcome everybody to share whatever they want to share, and I'm going to keep doing what I feel called to do as well.
I like to say that there's enough room for everyone, and I think operating in a space of scarcity only hurts yourself, because those are the people who are like, oh my God, like they're.
I love the positivity though, because you don't get that often. Like I put that out
but
there.
I think it's 10
expecting
years
you to go,
But I think it's the 10 years, right? And I think we started when there were only a few of us, and we only knew, and we reached out like, girl, what should I charge them, or what should I do, like, or should I take it, like, so we started in this space of camaraderie where I can pick up and call
That's great,
an OG blogger friend and be like, girl, what are we doing now? Like, how are we going to grow and navigate this?
I don't know.
We have to
but
stay
I don't
relevant.
know if that's still relevant. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing today, right? Because everybody, in terms of being able to like pick up or even hit up a blogger, right? Like I see a lot of, because I follow like influencers or bloggers or whatever space they want to occupy, and I'll see sometimes in their stories, I get it. Like they don't want people hitting them up about certain things, or they'll get like uptight, like people ask them questions and slide in their DMs, and they're like, well, I wouldn't slide in someone's DM, and that's not the proper way. My email is listed here. And so I'm just like, but I'm sure that when you first started, because some of these people are kind of vets in the game too. And when they first started, I'm sure they picked up the phone and called their homegirl, their homeboy, whoever it was. But now they're just so like, they have this
scarcity mindset.
Yeah,
that's a scarcity mindset.
Like,
when you think that when you feel threatened, when you feel like, there's too many people, like, at the end of the day, when you are operating in your gift and when you are operating in your purpose, it don't matter what you do. We're all in this together. So at the end of the day, it's also important that you kind of, make sure you check your circles. You check the energy that you're giving and receiving. You check yourself and remember your why, because as you said, like why you started. So my why, like when I find myself feeling, going through that FOMO, because it happens when you look at like, damn, I wish I could have been on that trip or gone and did this. But then I have to remind myself, Marie, this is why you started, and what is for you can't no man take from you. And like I have to stay that course, because anything else will get distracted, we'll get discouraged, we'll get bitter, we'll get spiteful. And that's the type of I am a handful by myself. I do not need to willingly invite any more unnecessary drama into my mind frame.
Yeah.
Because, especially, we were talking about like we're 10 years in, we're evolving to whatever our next level is. Our focus is understanding what that next transition is, what that next, whatever it is, and who we are in that space.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now I do have a question, because I have seen a difference, again, if we're talking money, because it is a business, the way people are charging, they just want to get on. It's like people are just doing things now. They're not doing it for being authentic. They're just kind of like, okay, I want to make money, but they're not even charging what they're worth. They're just, you get what I'm saying?
So you're saying they're undercharging.
Listen,
Undercutting
if I
the
have
whole
someone-
business. They're undercutting.
Like,
period.
like some of these people who have 200 and something thousand charging $100. So when a brand comes to me and I'm like, oh, it'll be X, Y, and Z dollars, they're like, oh, well, so and so only charges 100. Well, you can go over there.
Right.
But you probably have engagement, and you have real probably followers. A lot of people are
real followers too, right?
real followers.
But then you also have like a lot of companies that are going after like micro influencers, because they do feel like they have that more intimate kind of relationship with their followers. And I've just saw that
But
popping
it's
up and all of
interesting
that.
what they even define as micro, because for a lot of places, micro is anything under 100,000, right? And so on one hand, and most of the time it's only applicable to Instagram. On my Facebook fan page, I have 563,000 followers on
So
my
then,
on
am I
my
really
Facebook.
right?
So
Am I
that's
really
on
a
my
micro?
Right.
At
So
that
it's
point,
right. So
yeah.
it's really about platforms
Yeah.
and really about like understanding your worth, because even when I thought that I was charging something that was making me scary, when I learned what them white girls was charging,
Why aren't we worthy?
we don't know.
What is
We
it?
don't know.
It's really ignorance. I mean, especially when we were starting off, there were no standards for what we were charging. So like you said, we would be calling people like, how much should I charge for this video? How much should I charge?
Kind of coming up with it as you go.
Exactly. And then it wasn't until you start talking to some other people and you're like, how much did you get paid for that? And you're like, I need to just reevaluate everything.
A community. We need
Right.
a
But
community.
When you build your community, when you build your network, like I remember, and this is probably gonna sound real crazy, but let me say it. So I remember when I first, in 2010, I got a campaign with Chevy, and I got paid a year's worth for 5 months of work, a year's salary for 5 months, and I was like, and I got a car, and I was like, like, and I didn't realize I was the first person who signed my contract. People were over there still negotiating. I'm like, why? What is it? I could have, right? I was like, oh my God, I didn't know I could get more. Because we didn't know. I mean, plus I was the only black chick on this, But I mean, it was 2010, and it was like they were playing with real money and a car. Like I'm like, yo.
They're always playing with real money. That's what we don't realize. And don't forget, our money in this community is long, y'all.
Yes,
Black
and
money
It is.
long. But we act like it's short. We act like it's not worth the same money as theirs.
Because you know why? These agencies also are playing games with the bloggers. Like, they will come to the white girl and they'll pay her 10 G's, and they'll come to the black girl and give her maybe 3.
I heard that they don't even pay sometimes though, because I recently saw a post where people. But not knowing that that's exactly what they're doing, like at the end of the gig and all that. And I mean, reputable companies. Like I've seen a lot of people post about this, and they're like laying
And they're
it
mad,
all
but you can't get mad if you don't
like,
ask.
That's what I'm saying. The money's there, and they're not going to offer it.
Because
They're
you gotta ask.
They're not
No,
going to
but you can still
ask.
ask. You could still ask.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, we don't have a budget, or we've exhausted our budget. But here's the thing, and this is again goes back to scarcity mindset. You have to be okay to be like, you know what, thanks, but no thanks. And I think because when you think like, oh my God, if I don't take this, then no one's ever going to work with me. That's mindset.
Or I guess also asking for something up front, because that's something else that I've saw. Yeah, so some people don't do that, and so they're like, oh, okay, I'll get it at the end, and then they don't get it at the end. Yeah.
Or they don't have a contract.
Or they don't have a contract.
But see, this is where business intersects.
I know there's a community out here, but we need to tighten this community up, because there's way more that we can do, especially as far as educating the younger generation. Yeah. So on that note, we're going to close this segment, because we can go on for years.
I'm not done.
Well, we want to thank you. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. This was amazing. Thank you guys for coming and joining the table. Thank you. This was such great information. This is stuff I didn't know. Like, this is great. And people need to really log in. So tell us where they can find you again.
At thecurvyfashionista.com. And we also have an expo coming up this August, and it's going to be called the TCF Style Expo. And it's August 10th and 11th, and we even have a blogger mastermind to kick things off.
Wow, wonderful.
And it's our 5th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing. Let us know how we can support.
Definitely.
Awesome. And Miss Maeling, tell them how they can find you
So
later.
you can find me at mailingmurphy.com, and I'm in the process of relaunching, revamping naturalchica.com, so be on the lookout for that this year.
We're going to give a toast to knowledge and beauty, wealth, and girlfriends. All right. And for all of you out there, don't forget to follow us at kinkyconvos.com or on Instagram at Kinky Conversations. And thanks again for tuning in. And as always, stay kinky.
For more kinky conversations, log on now to www.kinkyconvos.com or on Instagram at Kinky Conversations. Interested in being on the show or showcasing your natural hair products? Use hashtag Kinky Conversations or hashtag Curlfriends.